Hi friends, so now let's start with another new chapter in customs refund. Again, there is one question in this refund which can be asked in the exam. Am I clear? Now, what is refund? What do you understand by the term refund? So, what is refund? Simple. You have paid excess duty. So, whatever excess you have paid, you are claiming back from the department that I had to pay you 100 rupees, but I have paid you 125 rupees. Give my 25 rupees back to me. That is called as refund. We all know refund. We have seen refund in income tax also. The same way we have refund in indirect tax also, as in refund in customs also, and refund in GST also. I hope you're with me. So as of now, we're studying what refund in case of customs. I hope you're with me. Can I start? Introduction. Sometimes custom duty is found to have been paid in excess of what was actually leviable on the goods. This may happen for various reasons like error or lack of information. It may happen that you thought it is 10% and you have paid custom duty at the rate of 10%, but later you got to know that the goods were exempted, so no duty had to be paid, or you had to pay 8% instead of 10%. That means lack of error, lack of information. In such cases, refund of excess amount of duty can be claimed. Refund of any excess interest paid. See, refund of duty as well as refund on of any excess interest paid by the importer or exporter can also be claimed. Am I clear? But now, most important thing, there is something called as what? There is something called as doctrine of unjust enrichment. Understand what is this? So this is custom duty, and custom duty is indirect tax. What is indirect tax? In indirect tax, the person who pays the tax and the person who bear the tax is two different persons. Importer. What is importer going to do? Importer will pay the tax to the government, but he will collect the amount from the buyer. The end of the day, tax has been paid by importer to the department, but who has actually got the pinch? The end consumer. I hope you're getting my point. I hope you're getting my point. What I'm trying to say over here. For example, if I am paying GST, you'll understand more easily in terms of GST. I am paying GST to department. Suppose I'm teaching you people and 10,000 is my fees, and on 10,000 rupees I'm charging 18% GST, which comes to 1,800. So basically I'm collecting from you people 11,800. I'm collecting from you people 11,800. I have kept 10,000 in my pocket and 1,800 I'm giving to the department. I have paid it to the department, but I've collected this 1,800 from your pocket. So basically, it's the end of the day, you people who has got that pinch. Yes. The department is saying that, Meeta madam, if you say that GST 1,800 you have paid excess, I won't give refund to you because you have not actually got that pinch. So students have paid that money. So refund should be going to the students. But the problem is, from where will they go and hunt the students? It's difficult to actually come to know who in turn has got that, who has done the payment. It keeps on transferring to the end consumer. Am I clear? Am I clear? So what they say that department says that, Meeta madam, we won't refund the money back to you because you have not paid from your pocket. You cannot enrich yourself on the cost of others. It was students' money. If I give you refund, it is wrong. The refund should go to the person who actually paid from their pocket. So that is called as doctrine of unjust enrichment. That department will not pay me the refund. Department says that this will be unjust to the end consumer. I cannot enrich you on the cost of others who have actually paid the tax will should get the refund. So it's difficult to come to know. Yeah, if you can prove it, if I as an importer I can prove it that this is the tax I have paid and the burden is yet not shift, then department will give me the refund. or else department will not give me the refund, and that money will go to consumer welfare fund, and that money will be used for the benefit of the consumer, because end of the day, who has paid that tax? Consumer. End consumer has paid that tax. So who should get benefit of it? End consumer should get benefit of it, and so it will go to consumer welfare fund. This is called as Doctrine of Unjust Enrichment. And indirect tax. In indirect tax, it is assumed that a burden is shift. The burden is shift. The person who is paying the tax to the government has shift the burden to somebody else. It's assumed. So if the burden is not shifted, it is I who have to prove it to the department that the burden is not shifted. I have paid the tax. I should get the money back as refund. If I'm able to prove it, department will give me the money back. If I am unable to prove it, department will credit this amount to consumer welfare fund, and this money will be used for the benefit of the consumer. Am I very clear? Am I very clear? Can I go ahead? Let's read this. The doctrine of unjust enrichment means no person can be unjustified enriched at expense of another person. In indirect taxes, the duty burden passes on to the person who ultimately consumes the goods. End of the day, who pays the tax? I mean, pay ka matlab, who get that burden? End consumer. Since the law authorities recovery of indirect tax, custom duty from buyer, therefore it is always presumed that incidence of duty has been passed. Therefore, if any refund becomes due to the importer, then since the importer has recovered the duty from the buyer, thus to be fair, refund should be made to the consumer. End of the day, who has paid the tax from his pocket should get the money back as refund. However, it is not possible to locate individual buyers and pay refund to them. I hope with me. It's not easy to locate who has actually paid the tax. Also, without authority of law, government cannot retain excess. It's simple. आज 1 lakh का tax I have paid, but then I got to know that I had to pay only 80,000. So 20,000 is paid excess. Now that's not custom duty. But it's not custom duty. Department cannot keep that money with them. See, department can keep the money which is duty, which is custom duty, when they themselves agreed, okay, you have paid excess, but the problem is who has paid actually, we don't know. So now department cannot keep that money with them. So what needs to be done by them? They need to transfer that money to consumer welfare fund. However, again reading point number 4, it is not possible to locate individual buyers and pay refund to them. Also, without authority of law, government cannot retain the excess duty. Therefore, Section 27 has been introduced, which provides that any refund due to an assessee shall be transferred to Consumer Welfare Fund and will be used for the purpose of protection and the welfare of consumers. The refund shall be granted to the assessee only when he proves that incidence of duty has not been passed to any other person or in certain other specified cases. When you can prove it that the burden is not shifted, then only you will get the money back, or else the money will go to Consumer Welfare Fund. Take an example. It's an illustration. The importer has imported an article which is valued 1000 rupees. The custom duty on the articles comes to rupees 250. Now the importer, suppose importer has paid that 250 to the department. Now the importer adds the profit margin of say 250 and sells the article in 1500. 1000 rupees was value of good. Importer has paid 250 as custom duty and importer has added 250 as his profit. Total comes to 1500. Now the price charged by the importer consists of the duty element. See, let's understand this. 1000 plus 250 plus 250, which comes to 1,500. Importer has collected this 1,500 from the buyer. The end of the day, who is paying that tax of 250 rupees? Buyer? Okay. Now the price charged by the importer consists of duty elements which has been passed on to the buyer. If later on it is found that there was an error resulting in excess payment of duty, such excess duty is liable to be refunded. But as may be seen above, the importer has already collected the duty from the purchaser, and if any refund is granted to him, it would be a double benefit to which he does not have valid right. See, suppose, assume out of this 250, you come to know that 50 was okay, 200 is excess. Now, if I give this 200 to the importer, already importer has collected 250 from the buyer, and if department gives 200 to the importer, it is a double benefit to the importer, which is not correct. Therefore, in such case, actually this 200 should go to this person. This 200 should go to this person who actually paid the tax from his pocket. The person who actually have had the burden. But problem is, it's difficult. Yeah, if you know who is that person, prove it, or else that money will go to consumer welfare fund. Am I clear to you? Am I clear to you? Can I go ahead? Any problem? So till now what we have studied in refund, that excess you can claim as refund, but then you need to prove that excess is borne by you, the burden is not transferred. If it's not proved, then the amount of refund will be transferred to the consumer welfare fund, because end of the day it is consumer who bear the taxes in case of indirect taxes. Clear? Okay. Application of refund of import duty or interest under section 27. Person who can claim refund of duty or interest. The claim of refund of duty or interest can be made the person who paid the duty or interest in excess, the one who has paid excess duty or excess interest, or the person who has borne the incidence of such duty or interest. Suppose I am only paid it and the burden is not shifted. So I can go for application, or else the person who's actually had that burden can make an application. Am I clear? Next, application for refund to be filed within 1 year. A claim by the importer or the exporter for refund of duty or interest must be made before the expiry of 1 year from date of payment of such duty or interest. You have paid duty today. Within 1 year, you need to file application for refund. I hope with me. Boss, in every act there are time limit, and you need to adhere, you need to follow that time limit religiously, because if I don't file an application within 1 year, it's a time barred case. Now department will say your right to refund is gone because you have not filed an application within 1 year. So I need to file an application within 1 year from the date of payment of tax or duty or refund, as the case may be. Am I clear? Am I clear? Now come to question number 1, a really important question with a case law also. Let's understand. Is limitation period, see that 1 year is what? Limitation period. Time bar. After that it will be a time bar. Is limitation period of 1 year applicable for claiming the refund of amount paid on account of wrong classification of imported goods? What is the question they have given over here? That while paying of custom duty, I must have done wrong classification, and because of that wrong classification, I have paid excess duty. And now, is that 1 year time period for the application be eligible or be applicable over here also or not? Let's read the question first. Let's see the facts of the case. Parimal rape is a case law. Am I clear? Facts of the case. The petitioner, the one who files the case is petitioner, and for the person against is defendant. Am I clear? So see, you will come to know by this. First person and the second person. First person is the one who has filed an appeal, and second person is the one who is against to have filed. Am I clear? So what is happening over here? Facts of the case. The petitioner imported tunnels, boring machine which were otherwise fully exempted from custom duty. They had imported tunnel boring machine which was fully exempted. However, owing to erroneous classification of such machine, they paid large amount of custom duty. They must have done some wrong classification, and because of the wrong classification, they end up paying a huge amount of custom duty. After the expiry of more than 3 years, the petitioner filed a writ petition claiming the refund of the amount so paid. The said refund claim was rejected on the ground that the petitioner failed to make a proper application of refund under section 27 of Custom Act 1962 within stipulated time of 1 year from the payment of duty. What happened? After 3 years, they realized that they have paid tax which actually they didn't have to pay. It was fully exempted, and after 3 years, they had made an application, but the application got rejected on the ground that you had to make an application within 1 year, and if not made an application within 1 year, so now the question of refund does not comes into picture only. Okay, these were the facts. Now what was done by High Court? Now when the application got rejected, they must have gone for some appeals. Very good case law, a really good case law. See what happened? What will come to your mind? Yeah, ma'am, you have paid the tax, you have not claimed refund within 1 year of payment of tax. That means you have not filed an application within 1 year. So now the question of giving refund does not comes into picture. Whenever you think like this now, that means the answer is wrong. You need to understand the law very nicely. So let's understand this. The High Court observed that the provision of section 27, mark this is a crux, the High Court observed that the provision of section 27 apply only when there is overpayment of duty or interest. Overpayment. I hope you're with me. Section 27 says that this section 27 applies when you had to pay 1 lakh and you have paid 120. That means you have done overpayment. Please mark that important. This is what crux over here, okay? When the petitioner's case is that tunnel boring machine imported by it were not eligible to any duty, any sum paid into exchequer by them was not duty or excess duty, but simply money paid to the government account. See, how you keep your case is very important. Normally, section 27 says that refund comes when you have paid in excess. Refund comes when you paid in excess. That means you have to pay 1 lakh and you have paid 120. Then that 20,000 is refund. But here what they're trying to say over here is, I didn't have to pay anything. I had to not pay anything because my goods were fully exempted. See, in the petitioner's case is that tunnel boring machine imported by it were not eligible to any duty because any sum paid into the exchequer but them was not duty or excess duty but simply money paid to the government account. The government could not have claimed or apportioned any part of this as duty or interest. Understand? Government themselves would have not claimed that this is my money because the goods which I had imported were wholly exempted, and government also cannot say, okay, you paid, so now it's not my money. No. Therefore, there was no question of refund of any duty. Refund does not comes into picture only. And when refund does not comes into picture, then 1 year wala limitation will also not come into picture. How? Now let's go on. That means, ma'am, are you trying to say that money is gone? No, I am saying that boss, refund If refund would have been to question, then 1 year would have been to question. But now it is not refund only, that the limitation of 1 year will not be applicable over here. The petitioner can get the whole money back. Let's read this. Therefore, there was no question of refund of any duty by the government. The money received by government could more appropriately be called money paid by mistake by one person to another, which the other person is under the obligation to repay under Section 72 of Indian Contract Act. Indian Contract Act. Now see how one from customs we shifted to contract, because custom is not into picture only. Refund is not into picture only. Refund comes only when you have paid over tax in excess. But boss, you didn't have to pay tax only, so there's no question of refund. So custom is out. Okay. So when custom is out, then what? Now the Contract Act comes over here. Contract Act says that if by mistake I have paid something to you by mistake, which I didn't have to pay, but I have paid. So now you become trustee to that and you should return me that money back. Am I clear? A person to whom money has been paid by mistake by another person becomes at common law a trustee for that other person with an obligation to repay the same sum received. This is equitable principle on which Section 72 of Contract Act 1872 has been enacted. Contract Act says that if by mistake I have paid something to someone, so that other person become trustee and that person should return that amount back. Therefore, the person who is entitled to money is the beneficiary. The person who has the money is called as trustee, and whose money the trustee has is called as beneficiary, and it is a duty of the trustee to give the money back to the beneficiary. The said amount was paid by mistake by the petitioner to the Government of India. The later, that means Government of India, instantly becomes a trustee to repay that amount to the petitioner. The obligation was a continuous. See, now you are a trustee, I am a beneficiary. So you will have to give my money back any day when I ask you to give me it back. The obligation was a continuing obligation. When a wrong is continuing, there is no, please again mark this. When a wrong is continuing, there is no limitation for instituting a suit complaining about it. The High Court therefore allowed the writ petition and writ the respondent, that means the department, to refund the said sum to the petitioner. Am I very clear? A really good question. Am I clear? Can I go ahead? Is this clear? See, what is refund? Excess paid as refund. But when I had to not pay anything, when I had to not pay a single money, and if I paid something by mistake, it is not refund. It is just my money with you. Now you are trustee and I am beneficiary, and you have to give the money back the day when I asked you, irrespective of the time period. Am I clear? Can I go ahead? Now, normally what we have studied? Normally in case of refund, you need to file application within 1 year from the date of payment of duty. But there's some other situation also from where you need to calculate 1 year. First, suppose I have paid duty and then there was an exemption notification. Exemption of duty by a special order. A special order came and it got exempted. Then I am eligible to get the money back. So from where I need to calculate 1 year from the date of that order. Second, I have paid money and then there was a case, judgment, and judgment came in my favor. Now I am eligible for the refund. So that 1 year will be counted from the date of such judgment. Refund of duty arising as a consequence of any judgment, decree, order, or direction of the appellate authority, appellant tribunal, or any court. There was a case and then the case came in my favor. The date judgment came, I will make an application within 1 year from the date of judgment. Third, provisional payment of duty under Section 18. We know that Section 18 talks about provisional duty payment. Assume I'm unable to identify the value or I'm unable to identify the rate, and I went to department. I said, sir, I don't know the value, I don't know the rate, how to pay the duty. And assume department has understood my problem. So department says, okay ma'am, let's do one thing. You pay 1 lakh rupee provisionally. Then we will do the final assessment, and then suppose you have paid 1 lakh and it turns up to 120, so you pay 20,000 in excess, or else other way around, you have paid 1 lakh and final comes to 70, we will give you a refund of 30,000. So now, assume I paid 1 lakh and final assessment came to 70,000. I am eligible for the 30,000 refund. For that, I need to make an application from which date? Within 1 year from the date of final assessment. Am I clear? Date of adjustment of duty after the final assessment. Am I clear? Am I clear? And last, in any other case, the date of payment of such duty or interest. The day I've paid duty or the date I've paid interest, I need to make an application within 1 year. Am I clear till here? Let's revise till here. Refund is what? If you pay tax in excess. 1. Second, normally you don't get the refund. The refund will go to Consumer Welfare Fund in case of indirect tax. But if you're able to prove that it was you who had borne that insurance, who is the one you have paid tax and it's actually gone from your pocket, then only you get the refund. Okay, for refund you need to make an application within 1 year from the date of payment of duty. The scenarios like first, because special order, I'm eligible for refund, the date of order. Second, I had an appeal and the appeal came in my favor, the date of judgment. Third, provisional assessment, because of that I had to pay X amount, and then final assessment done and I was eligible for refund 1 year from that final assessment. And fourth, any other case, date of payment of duty. Then we see above a case law Piramal where they said that, boss, what is refund? Excess amount is paid as refund. But when you didn't have to pay anything, the question of excess does not comes into picture. So refund does not comes into picture. When refund does not comes into picture, the limitation of 1 year will not come into picture. Am I clear till here? In that case, by mistake, if I've given you the money, you are trustee and I am beneficiary. And the trustee has to return the amount to the beneficiary back irrespective of the time period. There is no limitation to that. Am I clear till here? Any problem till here? Sure. Can I go ahead? Okay.